G'day footy fans and welcome to Boothy's AFL Dream Team podcast. Today I'm doing the Bulldogs. Well, they played a JLT game earlier tonight against Brisbane and lost, but I wouldn't worry too much about that. They had a lot of their guns out and they weren't taking it that seriously, although Brisbane played very well. These are the players I'd consider for this season based on what happened in the last year or two, or before that even. Marcus Bontempelli, an absolute gun of the game. He's a freak. He's just turned 21 and he's one of the best players in the comp. 26 matches last year, every one, 24 disposals, 26 goals. He's been good since day one. He's coming up to his fourth year. No JLT games, no worries. He's got one coming up in a week and a half's time, or 2 weeks' time, in a week's time. And at 5.95, an M3 or M4, depending on how you structure your midfield, probably an M3. Could be a captain by the end of the season. Jack Macrae, premium forward. Everyone's probably going to have him. 22 games last year, 28 disposals, phenomenal. Only the 2 goals, helping out in half back, wing, half forward, but mainly around the midfield area as well. At 5.96 and listed as a forward or midfielder, you're better off putting him as a forward. He's a premium forward. You either need to have him or the next one, which is Dow House. 21 games, 26 disposals, 9 goals. A bit cheaper than Macrae, but again a premium forward F1 or 2, or you could have him as a mid as well, with a dual position option. Hennison had a great final series and late in the season. 17 games last year, 24 disposals and 6 goals. A rebounding defender, rebounding one of the premier ones in the comp. And at 563, you could have him as a D1 or D2, depending on how you structure your defence. The next one is Liam Picken. Look, he's been around for a while. He's probably 30 years old, but played every single game, got 23 disposals, midfield and up forward resting, 17 goals. He's a solid contributor. He's consistent and hard at it, but he probably isn't going to improve much more than getting up to about, he might give you 50,000 or something, but there might be better options in that position, but he's so consistent and plays every game, which is important, of course. The next one is Clay Smith. He's cheaper than he should be because he came in sort of in the back half of the year, had a really good final series, which didn't count towards his average. 15 disposals in the minor round, 18 goals and 13 games, but he did have a high score of 140. He is underpriced because of his final series and did come off his knee injury. But at 3.92 as an experienced, hard at it, midfield/forward F4, he's pretty well priced there, I would have thought. Tom Boyd, again, underpriced because his final series being phenomenal and ended up with 90 odd in the grand final, taking all those marks. Tall, can play in the ruck, and they've got Roughhead injured at the moment in the ruck. And Campbell's a bit proppy at times as well, so he may end up getting some ruck work and some marks and forward play in the first few rounds. At 15 matches last year, it looks like he's finally reached starting to come into his prime. 12 disposals only, but hit-outs, 13 goals, so won a game, but getting better, as I said, underpriced, 347. Pick him as an F4, probably an F4 out of all of that, or an F5 possibly, or even an R2 if you're keen, but I'd go with a forward if I were you. 3 players who missed the cut of 7, but could easily have gotten in and watched their JLT. Toby McLean, who looks great as a third-year player. He's played 19 matches, but just looks like he belongs as a half-forward player. Might get some more midfield time as he matures. 15 games last year for a total of 19. 17 disposals, which is good for a young player, and 14 goals, so a goal a game. And he looked good in JLT 2 earlier today and got 80-odd. At 4.38 as an F3 or 4. Look, he could really improve, as I said, being the age that he is, that third-year sort of window. Josh Dunkley, he's a second-year special. I haven't talked about too many second-year specials in my podcasts. He's one of them. Callum Mills was the other one that was a really great one. And there's some others, but not many. Handful of them. So Dunkley, 17 games, 17 disposals and 9 goals, with a lot of tackles and other marks and things thrown in, which isn't represented there. At 4.86, bit dearer than McLean, but, fantastic first year. You could pick him as a mid-5 or 6 or an F3 more likely if you wanted to go down that path. Caleb Daniel was fantastic. 22 disposals as a second-year player, 24 games out of 26 and 11 goals. So he gets disposals and he gets a goal every second game as well. At 4.79 would be a great F3. Unfortunately, he's got a shoulder issue at the moment. Hasn't played a JLT game, but if he plays JLT 3 in a week's time, then get on board if he does well, because he's played 34 games in 2 years. And coming into his third year, which is really, really great. It means the club loves him and he gets lots of possessions and goes forward and gets goals. So the Bulldogs, they're going to be great. Don't worry about the JLT 1 or 2. Look at the JLT 3 next weekend for them. They had a later start and they're not too worried at this stage. Get on board, subscribe, like me, or share. Thanks. Bye for now.